All right. So the first person we're gonna introduce, I dunked on him in the 9th grade. Punched on his ass too, man. The first person we're gonna introduce, my brother, amazing writer, former NFL player, brilliant mind, a very great creative, has amassed a lot in the entertainment space, and is working currently on the Cam Hayward doc, and also running the point with us on the sports side of Hidden Empire Sports is my brother Ephraim Salaam. Come on up,
Put your hands together. Come on down.
Secondly, we're going to introduce my other brother, man, NBA champion, I think arguably one of the greatest defenders that we've ever seen in the league, ferocious, kind brother the last few years, and surprisingly enough, let me just say this for a minute. 3 years ago, I met Trevor Ariza, and he was just like, man, I'm trying to get into the film, I want to understand it, I want to learn it. Very cerebral, very soft-spoken, don't say very much, but is always kind of calculated thinking. I said, man, come to the NFL event. And I snuck him into the NFL event a couple years ago, and he ended up shooting and being the cinematographer for DK Metcalf and that group, and they were doing, they were making a movie, they did Bad Boys. And at the time I was with an award-winning cinematographer who pulled me to the side and was like, the basketball guy. And I was like, yeah, it's Trevor Ariza. He was like, he's brilliant. And I was just like, man, I went and watched and hung back, and I seen him work, and I was like, man, he's really wanting to learn this. He wants to be on the acting side. He wants to be on the producing side. And we hit it off. And he has done so many amazing things, man. And currently, he has been over here working and building on the film side with us. He is one of our partners. He is insanely talented. And he is now transitioning from his world from basketball to now being a filmmaker, and none other than Trevor Ariza.
Merci.
And then last but not least, the icon, the legend. A lot of people don't know this brother's story, man, and I had to remind him recently, like, bro, people don't know, like, you know how you know something about yourself and you think everybody know it? Have y'all ever been, y'all probably too young to know that. They know what I do. I'm like, bro, don't nobody know. And Duane is somebody that we grew up with. Above the Rim was one of my favorite movies of all time. I mean, straight up, bro. Like, the whole film, hardcore bunks, you know what I mean? Just the energy of it. And it's funny because growing up, we would watch the movie and I'd be like, man, this motherfucker kind of hoop for real. I didn't realize that Duane actually had played for the Knicks and transitioned out of the Knicks and got a call to actually, you know, he had a calling to get into the film space, which he did in an amazing way. But then I thought that was the end of the story until I found out he also transitioned out of acting, and while he was acting and being in the entertainment space, he ended up becoming one of the biggest agents in the world. And I didn't realize that. And then took his energy and tapped Rich Paul and taught him. I said, man, what? So I said there could be nobody greater to come speak to you guys today about transitioning out of professional sports into film, television, producing, independent filmmaking, and then also having his mindset on other things creative in the business like agency and all those good things. So it is the brilliant Duane Martin. What up, man? Okay, I see what you're doing. I see what you're doing. You get in there. No, you get over there. You get over there. Y'all the stars, man.
What do you mean is he here? Did he show up?
I didn't know, bro. I didn't know. You done came in here with them lamb skins on, man. God damn.
These are my guys. These are my guys, man. I wouldn't miss this for the world, man. These guys are my heroes right here.
So,
and I'm gonna tell you why I say that. I say that because back in the day when I was playing and wanting to be an athlete forever, like people in my era, no one was thinking about doing what you guys are doing. Everybody thought we were going to play until we died. You know what I mean? Like all we could see is like the mountain in the distance, and we're like, yo, we're going to climb that mountain. You guys are like, yo, I'm going to go around the mountain, check it out, come back, and then go back up. And that's what you guys are doing, and I commend you for it. For us, it was probably like a fantastical idea to think like that. Like we never thought about after sports, and you guys are ahead of the curve, man. You guys deserve a round of applause, man. I really do respect that.
So kicking this off, this is good, and we're gonna open this up early so we could all really conversate today, okay? Kicking this off, what I thought is interesting is me and a group of guys were talking last night at Paramount, and we were saying that, a couple years ago, this was foreign what y'all are doing. It was foreign, bro. Like, there wasn't a world where guys was dressed like this and swagged out and had social media and was trying to figure out like, yo, I'm finna do this and do that. And you will understand very quickly, I have a really good relationship with AJ DeBontis and his father, right? And I'm not sure if you guys are following his storyline right now, but at 18 years old, he has around 16 million people following him on multiple channels. He has a channel for his clothes, he has a channel for his sports, he has a channel for his workouts. This is the future. You know what I mean? And now the reason I know him is because now he's trying to figure out how do I get into film after my first year. He's already looking like after the first year in the NBA, I'm going to focus on that. But then I would love to figure out how in the offseason I can get into the film space. This is an 18-year-old. Tristan's son, arguably one of the best players in the country right now. His youngest son is, Trevor, what's your youngest son? He's 8th grade, Tristan?
Yeah, 14.
14. He has a cameraman. He got a cameraman following him. And he a killer. And I'm going like, wow, this is going somewhere else. And I wanted to say that because to start the panel off, you guys are, Ephraim, I've known you forever. Like I would never tell you guys who said this to me, but I will tell you the story. A Hall of Famer called me, big Hall of Famer, like called me, like, bro, come down to my hotel. I want to talk to you about your brother for a minute. And I'm like, oh, I'm finna pull up. What's up? So I go down there, I sit down with him, and he like, the nigga doing too much. And I said, what you mean? And he was like, you got to talk to him. And I said, what do you want me to tell him? He's like, bro, he out here doing commercials. He trying to write. He trying to do this. He trying to do that. He need to just keep his helmet on and focus on what he's doing right here. Don't do nothing else. And if you don't tell him, I'm going to tell him because I'm going to grab him up and tell him. And I'm like, damn, bro, I think he trying to figure out what to do. He had last pick. he trying to figure out what to do after this. And we had a real big argument about it. And then I went to him and told him, like, hey, man, look, this is what they think. This is how people are viewing what you're doing as a lineman because you're supposed to just keep your helmet on, not be seen. We never understood that we would get to a place we got, Deion Dawkins now. Marshawn Lynch now. You know what I mean? The Rock. Like, this was pre all of that. Terry Crews. You know what I mean? So I want to tell you guys, you're thinking the right way, and you guys are the future. So with that being said, Ephraim, why don't you start us off with just a little bit about why were you thinking that way when you were playing? Like, what made you, out of all the, because Bob Whitfield never took his helmet. Bob Whitfield slept with his helmet on.
No, that's a good point, and I remember that conversation. Coming out of San Diego State in 1998, I was projected. I know, right? I was projected to go in the first day. The draft used to be 2 days, first 3 rounds the first day, and the rest the second day. And when that didn't happen, and I got drafted in the 7th round with the 199th pick, it was kind of like, okay, that was a reality check for me. And then Deion told a story yesterday about, he came to Atlanta with me. We were in training camp together, staying at the Swanee Inn in Swanee, Georgia. And I end up competing at a high level, end up winning the starting job and starting all 19 games, including the Super Bowl. And I was the 4th rookie in NFL history to ever do that. And I say that to say everything had to go right. I had to do almost the impossible to get my NFL career started. And that year gave me 12 more years after that because I showed I can compete at a high level. Now, within that, they never stopped seeing me as a 7th round draft pick. some of you guys know exactly what I'm talking about. And so if they see you as a 7th round draft pick, no matter how well you're playing, then you need to be in touch with reality. And my thing was, I knew how expendable free agents are, late round draft picks. So I immediately was like, okay, well, I'm going to use this celebrity of being in the NFL to start looking for other things just in case they want to turn the lights off on me. Some of you guys have stories where they decided they were just going to go click for whatever reason. That's the reality of being a professional athlete. We don't get, in most instances, we don't get to decide our timeline. So the thing that I'm passionate about is this, because the transition from that greatness to reality is hard. It's cold and it's lonely. No matter if you got family around you, a support system. So if you're not preparing for that to happen, it can hit you like a ton of bricks. And so for me, I'm like, okay, well, at the time, there were no offensive linemen doing anything nationally, and it was no avenue ever anywhere. It was only like 4 sports channels. And I got introduced to a publicist. She was wonderful, and she said, hey, look, I'm going to get you in a room. You do the rest. So I start always, early on in my career, even though I was extremely successful, started thinking about, okay, what else do I want to do? I always tell players, especially professional athletes, find something you love while doing something you love. Right? You guys remember the Best Damn Sports Show? So the last 6 months it was on air, they said, hey, the show's going off in June. It was January. They said, do you want to host the last 6 months? We can't pay you. Now, I realize that was a lie, okay? But they lied. They could pay me. Somebody was getting paid. It wasn't me. But I said, yes, absolutely. I have a job. I'm good. I was in the league. I was good. But what it did was it gave me exposure. It gave me an opportunity to be on a platform that was seen by more than just people who love football. And I got to interview actors and singers and other athletes, and it was just adding to my value off the field. If someone were to tell you guys right now, just focus on football, look, life is too big for that. Life is too big for that. Like, you can't just singularly focus on something. I'm not saying miss workouts. We know how to be athletes. We know how to do that. We've been doing it our whole lives. It becomes easy. It becomes part of who you are. You know how to train. You know how to get up. The discipline is there. So you going to find other things you love to do doesn't take away from your greatness on the field. It's the knowledge that you gain while being great here that's going to save your life, literally, when you transition out of that sport.
And Ephraim, and Duane, thank you for that, man. That was great, bro. And Duane, talk a little bit about your journey a little bit and why you thought the way you thought as well. I want you guys to just get into their mind a little bit, because it's a big deal. Like, y'all sitting here thinking, oh no, no, this was a big turning point for an athlete. Shut Up and Dribble was real. Before you guys could say something or speak about something, there was only very few athletes in the world that were able to actually say something politically without being kicked out in all leagues, all sports. That's why you always have to understand, what Jim Brown truly meant, and Kareem and Muhammad Ali, like what they meant for you guys. They had to do what they did for you guys to even be here right now, to be able to say something in any capacity. So to be able to say, oh, I'm finna get into this, or getting to film or getting to television, or I'm gonna be thinking about doing some other stuff in the off time, that's a big deal. Now you guys have access to everything. You can pull your phone out right now, record yourself, and say whatever you want to say, and be your own brand. So this is you said 1908 you was at San Diego State. Is that what you said?
You older
Did
than
he
me.
say 1908?
You older than
okay,
me.
so Duane, talk a little bit about 1908 when I was at San Diego State. We had leather helmets and Duane, talk about why you thought the way you did coming out of the Knicks, and a little bit like how you merged into the space.
I didn't really have a plan. I got my discipline from being an athlete. I played at a Division III school. To be signed by the Knicks was, there was nobody that believed that would happen but my mother. You know what I'm saying? Like, but I will say, like, my guiding light is that I only do what I love. That's it. That's the secret sauce for me. If I don't love it, I'm not doing it. I've never done anything for money. And I also know as an athlete, if there's something that I love, I'm gonna excel, because we already have the discipline, right? We've had to do more than any other student at our schools. We've had to study, be at practice, tutor, travel. Oh yeah, you get to travel. You're lucky. You're an athlete. You're going to North Carolina. Yeah, we go to the hotel, we eat, we go back to the hotel, back on the plane. We don't get to see the city. There's no education there. We don't even know what the downtown look like in North Carolina, right? But for me, like, I think a lot of us, think about the world. Like, we're a small community as athletes, but think about the world. Like, the average student is a D student. That's like, if you applied yourself in anything that you wanted to do with what you've learned and how you've trained, you're going to be amongst the 80%, just because you're already trained for that. Like, that's muscle memory. Like, whatever you guys get into in this business, you may not hit the bullseye, but you're going to end up somewhere around where your heart told you need to be. Like, you might want to be an actor, but you might end up being the dopest producer in this town. Like, I've seen people shift. It's not exactly what their intention was when they came out here, but they were in the vicinity. And you got to keep your eyes open, your head on a swivel, to take looks and look and see where the openings are, because it's going to be right there in front of you. You may have come out here for one thing, but there's another thing that the door opened right there, and you're like, oh, I'm gonna take that. You know what I'm saying? So I really don't. I can't even really track my story, because I just, whatever, like, I went from, playing, being a pro athlete, to being an agent, to being an actor, to being a producer, to making independent films, independent TV shows, to restaurants, to, like, clothing lines. Like, I was just like, I love it, I'm doing it. And then I'll just buckle down, and I'll do what I need to do, be disciplined, and study to be the best in that particular field. Because a lot of people that you're going to meet that you admire they're not all that. That's like, if you're a corner and you've been like, they've been talking about that receiver, and then you get out on the field with him, you're like, this is the dude, like, for real, like, you know what I mean? And that's how it is in the business too. So don't give anybody any respect until they earn it. Like, that, don't submit to the idea that they're that much better than you until they earn it from you.
Question. So you said do what you love, but when you first start out, and what I'm hearing when we first start this job, it's like you got to do some stuff that's free. You might have to host a show for free. At what point did you start to say that? You already had a catalog to where you got to do what you love. At what point did you just say, well, I guess, let me rephrase my question. When you're first starting out, do you kind of have to do everything just because no one knows who you are?
No.
Yeah, it just doing what you love, period. Even if you're not getting paid. that if you love it, you're going to be amongst the elite or close to the top in that field. The money will come. If you what if you did the other thing? What if you spent many years of your life doing something you didn't love for money? Like where does that leave you? You know what I mean? Then money is your master. Then money, you're looking for money for your happiness, and it's not gonna happen. So do what you love and struggle in what you love, and you won't struggle for long. Like it's like buoyancy, you know.
Yeah, I would also say to that the free part of it. We talked about this a little bit yesterday as well. Like the free of it is like somebody's doing a stage play and they don't have a budget, and you really want to get on stage. Go do that shit, bro. You know what I mean? You can't you can't ask, man, what y'all paying? And you really want to do that, go do that. Yesterday, 15 of y'all ran and jumped on the green thing. They didn't pay you. 15 of y'all went up there and was screaming like a motherfucker. They didn't pay y'all shit. That's because y'all wanted to do it, right? And that energy is what he's saying. That's the energy, bro. Like, bro, y'all trying to do, yeah, we want to go do it because we hungry to figure out how it works. Now, what'll happen, Legend, is once you do it a few times and you begin to get a little energy, now you got to tell people, nah, bro, this ain't free no more. Like I'm pacing up, because then you're going to look past the free stuff. You're going to start looking like, okay, I'm trying to get into this position. And I was saying this earlier, and I don't want anyone to take this the wrong way because it's not a negative, but we were talking and we talked about Tubi. And I was telling somebody, be careful. You do a bunch of Tubi stuff, you become a Tubi actor. That's just how they view it. The same way he said they don't see you, they see me as a seventh round. This is how this place sees it as well. You get over there, you like, boy, I'm cooking. Boy, I just did 10 Tubi movies. You finna do 10 more Tubi movies because that's where they finna have your ass at. And it's sad, bro, because other people get to fall up the ladder. We don't get those opportunities. Once they see you in 2 or 3 of those, they like, okay, that's his range, that's what he do. And oh, by the way, he's not taking this serious because he's not trying to put himself in position with better actors, better directors, better writers, you're not, I understand 1 or 2 because you're just trying to get your game, you know what I mean? But then when you start getting to 3, 4, 5, it's like, no, that's what you're doing. Because now you have to be a little more disciplined. Like, no, I gotta, no. You would go to the XFL or any of these other leagues because you're trying to do what? There it is. You're trying to use that to get to that. And that's how you have to look at performance-based stuff. You got to use what they doing with you for a minute. Like, damn, let me get on this, let me get on that. The safe bet is, like I said, short films. You know what I mean? The safe bet is, all right, I'm not going to do that particular movie right now because I've done 2 of those. Now I want to get myself up a little bit more. I'm going to find a really dope-ass short. I'm going to find another project I could get on. I'm going to be the 17th person on that movie because I want to stand behind those actors and officially get myself on a real set. And that's the free part of it that he's discussing, where it's like, no, at some point you got to know, no, I did that now. I got to get to this. And then sometimes it takes some time for you to get to that. But that's what I'm trying to tell you guys. If you independent artists, you can bust that time down by doing your own shit. By fighting. I'd rather see you guys fight for your own stuff. If you can't get something up the hill, go get it yourself.
And
so
to that point, D, even if it's free monetarily, it's not free because the knowledge you get from being in that stage play and not making any money, from me being on national television and not being paid, the exposure. I met the producers and I learned what a production meeting looked like. I learned how to form my own questions for guests. Like all of these things that I would gladly pay for, I was able to do on a large scale. So although you may not be getting the benefit of money, the knowledge that you're getting is invaluable. You can't put a price tag on that because now it'll allow you, like Dion said, like Duane said, now you get to go out and use that information and put yourself in a better situation. Go ahead.
Go ahead. Sorry, go ahead.
I got a question. So, like, you know, being in the league, when you were in these rooms trying to get on these different projects, a lot of times they just see us as like investors. It's like, oh, you in the NFL, oh, you a billionaire. Like, bro, I'm undrafted, bro. Nobody call my phone. So, like, what's the best way about like getting involved in these projects? Like, one, like how, say if you do want to invest, like how do you vet like what's the correct project to get a part of? And two, like, what are other ways, like you said, like do your own stuff, which I agree with, but what are other ways, like if you want to get on a project of somebody you met, what's another way to get on it without, you know, throwing money at them?
Yeah, I can speak to that firsthand, because when Psychopath over here called my phone from Germany talking about I have an idea for a movie, he told you guys that story, and I didn't know what he was. I was like, what are you talking about? He was like, when I get back, I'm gonna tell you. He flies to Denver. I'm playing for the Broncos at the time. We go to Mimi's Cafe, and we sitting in Mimi's, and he got this yellow mead pad, and he got all this stuff written down on it. And then the killer come in, and he gonna do this, and these kids, and they go to college, and then the phone, they playing on the phone. And I'm looking at him, I'm like, what are you talking about? He was like, look, I'm trying to get, so we just start vibing, start talking about this thing. I'm shooting ideas. We have no training at all. Zero. And he was like, all right, cool. I have a friend of a friend whose cousin's sister is a writer. And I was like, okay, all right. I'm playing. He leaves. In the off season, he's got a script. We got it. Let's go make a movie. So I'm in the league, so I asked my publicist to set up some meetings. We go and taking all these meetings for a year. They want to talk about football. What was it like to play in the Super Bowl? Right? What's the hardest hit you ever got? And then the last 4 minutes, we want to talk about the movie. Yeah, okay. Good. That was it. Nothing. And I decided to ask him what would it cost for us to start shooting our own thing. And he told me, I invested. But to your question, how do you know which project, if you are going to invest, you better trust the people you dealing with. I didn't invest in the movie. I invested in him. And that's the difference. I was prepared never to see that money again. But I knew him because we grew up together, we lived together, that's my brother. I knew how passionate he was. So I'm not investing in an actual IP, I'm investing in a person. And that person came with a team. Roxanne is on that team. Me, we've been doing this forever. That's how you know. Now, if you meet someone, you got to do your homework. You got to find out, because we've been in situations where the check went out and it never came back, and the project died, and you just have to know he's never not finished a film. Ever. In 20 years, there are very few there may be no independent filmmakers that can say that. That's who you invest in.
Yeah, I want to pick up on that for a second. And Trevor, this is for you. And I'll answer more of that stuff when we get to the directors panel, because I want you guys to really understand there are multiple things you can do without investing to help a production. There are multiple things you can do to lend yourself. You can actually also produce movies by going to help find the money. So there's all kind of stuff you can do to drop yourself into this space. Trevor, you have a unique and amazing career in terms of, your run with Houston, with the Lakers. What was it, you could have easily, after your run with Kobe and all the stuff you was able to do, you could have easily just taken this moment and been like, I'm finna jump in with Gil and people and have a podcast. I'm gonna get on ESPN. You could have been doing that for the last 10 years. What is it that made you decide that you wanted to get into film, bro, and television and into producing?
Oh, man. For me, it was more about the opportunity to be able to tell my story and real stories. a lot of the times when you go to networks or you go to other people's thing, you kind of gotta like fall suit into what they want to do, the story that they want to tell, the narrative that works for them, and instead of the narrative that works for the individual. Me, I'm more so somebody that likes everybody to have their fair shot of what they want to put out in the world for themselves, and dimming the light or switching it up for somebody else is not authentic to me. And me being somebody who's authentic, I much rather be able to do things that way.
What kind of stories in the future would you like to be behind to tell?
So for me, I want to be able to give like the story of not the superstar, but somebody who has that type of talent. And talent don't just stop at just the position or the skill or how far or how high you could jump or how hard you could hit, right? Talent is more so, okay, I could throw the ball 60 yards and I can get over here and play the piano on your ass. You know what I'm saying? I could sing and I could, shoot from 40 feet away. So there's more. Talent is not just what everybody else thinks talent may be. There's hidden talents that we all have. Like, think about it like this, right? Us as athletes, when we go somewhere, when we walk somewhere, all the energy and all the eyes are always on y'all, right? Because you give off of a different type of energy that the rest of the world really don't give off, and people feed off of that, right? So if they're feeding off of that, what connects to them that we see if we do completely different things? What about us that is allowing for these people to want to hear or see or be around us so much? Those are talents. Those are hidden things that we don't even know about. So if we can tell those stories or if we can find those things, I feel like it draws the world and it brings people closer.
And then I want to ask you this. This is a kind of a different question. How many of you guys play or played in a major market? Like a major market, right? Okay. Obviously, yeah. So, did you ever see you played in LA with Kobe? Did you ever capture or see any access, because everybody that goes to Laker game is film people. From Jack Nicholson on down, every producer in the world is in that arena watching those games and are diehard fans. Did you ever, while you were playing, figure out, like, let me figure out how I could tap into this space while you were playing?
So I'm kind of like a tweener in a lot of different ways, right? And what I mean by that is I'll catch like the turn of the industry or the turn of the way the league is playing. So I was able to play through 3 different turns of the way the league was ran. So when I first got in the NBA, it was more so, this is what you do. I'm gonna put you in this box and this is who you are. That was not comfortable for me. I played my role. I did what I needed to do to make sure that I was able to do what I needed to do, but that never stopped my mind from working or me wanting to find information or get information. So playing with the Lakers, I was able to meet a whole bunch of different people, and not just in entertainment, but all type of walks of life, right? So when I get in the room, I'm not just gonna sit there and be on my phone or only talk to people that I know. If people are in the room, we're all in the room for a reason, right? So what I would do is ask questions about what it is you do, how you did it, what puts you in that space to get there. And then I start to take from different people and start to learn different things about how they did what they did, right? And I did that throughout my career everywhere I go. Playing with Kobe, everybody wants to be around him. Everybody's getting in the room, right? And it wasn't just the work ethic that I learned from him. What I learned was the fact that so many people want to get close to you and be around you. it has to be like a equal exchange. It can't just be me giving you all my energy or me giving you all my ism. You gotta pass it back. I gotta see something in you that's gonna make me wanna like be around in that way. So that's something that I was able to get. And I was able to get that from a variety of people. You know, I played for 8 different teams, right? So I was able to see different markets, meet different people, get different ideas from a whole bunch of different people. So that helped me out in my career. Like, for example, I was able to meet Kyle E. Watson, you know, since I'm probably 19 years old because of the connection. Him and one of my cousins have a really good relationship. So I was able to get around him, ask questions, get information from how he saw the world and apply those things into my life personally. You know what I mean? So it's just about never thinking you're the biggest person in the room or the smallest person in the room, just finding information, taking the information away and using it for what works for you.
And I want to just say this to you guys because you should make sure you remember this. The greatest thing you can get, the absolute greatest thing you can get outside of any contract that you could imagine is information. Now that's gonna hit y'all a little bit different later in life. If somebody could give you the information, you can go make all the money. It is when they keep you ignorant that you cannot. And I want to also say this to you, which you guys should also write down. The shield. I'm going to piggyback off what he just said. Understand that you are playing under a shield called the NFL. Everybody in the world wants to be around you. That will get very quiet when you don't suit up. That will get very, very quiet when the lights turn off. The fact that you walk in that arena and you play, you coach, you're part of the team, you used to play, that allows you to have access to information that others will not ever get. You have a little lady back there that's beautiful, that loves everyone in this room, that you can pick up the phone and say, hey, I'm trying to do this, and she will connect you with that. That's your agent right now. That's your manager right there, Tracy Perlman. That is your agent and your manager. What he is talking about is the ability to have something that people want, which is they're enamored by athletes. 3-4 years ago, I took Andre Iguodala to meet Robert Smith. Robert was getting behind him. He was trying to, now he's in Forbes. He was trying to figure out how to build a hedge fund. In the room, in that moment, he decided, I'm going to play one more year for Golden State because he was working on a deal out of Silicon Valley where all of the people were enamored by the Warriors. And he decided in that moment, if I play one more year here, I can get that deal done with them. It's literally that strategic. Because he knew when the tickets went away and him running out the tunnel went away and them people sitting right on the front, they not seeing him, it was going to be a completely different conversation. So he used the league to help himself. And you guys should be using the NFL to help yourselves. All these sponsors, all these boosters, all these brands, all these different organizations, you guys should be using it for your film career. You want to make your own documentary? Okay, what am I doing? NFL just brought you in this room. Now you have one step forward. Right? You want to figure out how to get into movies and films? You just walked in here. You want some actors? Okay, there go one. You want to figure out how to learn how to do some producing? Here goes some people right here. There's some people in the back. It's right here, and you're only getting that because of what? The NFL. There's 100 people walking around out there right now trying to figure out, damn, I just want to meet somebody, anybody that could tell me anything. So it's not about money, it's about access. It's about learning information. It's about being able to process what someone's telling you and then going back and doing it and applying it yourself. The other thing you need to understand is action and energy creates momentum. Action and energy creates momentum. The more you get someone excited about something, the more you could put materials in front of people, the more you can, I got the book, I got the this, I got the him, that is pushing people towards, oh shit, this is happening. Manifestation. You got to wake up every day and be like, what am I manifesting? What am I doing? And you have to actually put that energy into it, and then it becomes that. I am an actor. I am a director. I am a writer. Not I'm trying to be. Not I'm going to be. I am. I'm writing this. I'm going to make this. I'm going to create this. I'm going to shoot this. In the off season, I'm going to get all of us together and I'm going to make this shit happen right now. Bro, jump in right now. You got 20 grand, get in, bro. We all doing it. That is how it happens. Not, you know what, bro, I'm trying to figure this shit out. Man, motherfucker figure out how to get. No, man, you better get your ass up. Become electric, bro. Become electric. So Duane,
I want to piggyback on that.
Go ahead.
Like in the entertainment industry, in my opinion, like the biggest heist ever is, and you have an actor, you have an agent. Your agent gets 10%, you get 90%. This town has convinced actors that they're 90% and you're 10%. It's the biggest heist ever. I look at my peers, I look at them, and they're like, well, my agent's telling me what. You're 90%. You get the big piece of the chicken. All right? Don't have them make you think that you're inferior to them. You're the energy source. In the NFL, you're the player. We get targeted off the field, right? There's girls dressing up for you that day. They're like, yeah, I'm number 17. You know what I mean? That's my guy. Oh, who's the new draft? Him? Oh, yeah, him. You're getting targeted. We got to start targeting. That guy that owns the zipper company in your town that comes to the games has got a suite. Hey, man, tell me about the zipper company. Let's have dinner. All right, give me 10%. All right, cool. Don't wait for your agent to be the energy source. In sports, he gets 4%. You're the energy source. Let him come and watch your back and look at the paperwork. That's what it's about. All of that, like we got to play offense. You know what I'm saying? It's too many times you look in the paper, this athlete's got taken by this guy. This guy was handling his money. He did what? We're alpha males. What are we talking about? Why are we getting robbed? Why are we the prey? Turn that thing around, man. And I want to share something else with you guys that I did later on in my life. Is I wrote a list for myself called Someday Maybe. Because a lot of times you're moving around and you're like, you know what, I want to do that. I just can't get to it right now. Put that on your someday maybe list, and you knock that list off. If you can knock that list off, you're living in a happy space, because those are the things that come out of your body that you want to do, that you love. So make sure you don't forget about those things, because when life starts to happen and life starts to get bigger, you forget about those someday maybes.
And then thank you for that, man. And also just additive, and Ephraim, I'll let you, and Trevor, you guys should speak on this a little bit as well. As you guys are getting ready to kind of look at the film space and find out what intersects you want to play in, remember I told you guys, like, different genres of films, different ideas. Don't let your story start with, there's a football player. You guys got to figure out a way out of that, because everyone has the same story. Don't be repetitive. So I'll give you a really good example of what I mean. How many of you guys have seen the movie The Town with Ben Affleck and Matt Damon? Ben Affleck and Jeremy Renner. Great movie. It's a hockey movie. They meet in the hockey ring. They wear hockey masks. His dad was a former hockey player, pro. He's in jail. They were hockey players. It's a hockey movie set in Boston. They backed themselves in through a sport and told a story this way. Jeremy Renner was the bully. He was the bruiser on the hockey team. He was the one that beats motherfuckers up. He was the goon. So I'm saying that because you have to think about how you would tell your story differently. It might be a football story, but how do I back into the story differently? Boys in the Hood was a football story. Ricky got signed to USC and was getting ready to go. His agent was coming. So that could have been that story could have been told through Ricky's POV, which it was, right? But then it segued out into Doughboy and everybody else. The sports was inside the mix. So as you guys are looking at storytelling, oh man, I went through this. Okay, back it out. How could you come into that story a completely different way? What could you do differently than somebody else? The Antoine Fisher story was completely different than other stories, right? So you have to think about them that way. Moonlight was different than other stories. You have to figure out, because everyone's going to start with, there was a football player and he in the hood. Motherfuckers rolled up on him. Whatever that is, bro, no. We all know that one. Challenge yourself. How do I deconstruct it, repurpose it, move it over here, shake that free? Think about community. Who was the homie in the hood that was doing something? Oh, wow, damn, he had a crazy-ass story. Back your story in that way. You know what I mean? So I'm saying that because I want to challenge you so you don't come out of this going, I'm finna tell the same story that 18 other people are telling, because then you do that and then you go into a studio and someone says, oh, we already have that. They don't have it the other way around. Do you know what I mean? It's a little bit of why Get Rich or Die Trying didn't work, in my opinion. It's because 8 Mile did the same story. I would like see 50 had took that story another way, which could have been kind of cool. I loved the movie. It was incredible. But I felt like because they used, I believe, the same director, he did the same move. We seen that move already. He gonna pump fake and go right. We was like, okay, that's what it is. So challenge yourselves on that level. And I want you, Duane, for 1 second on the actor side. How hard was it for you? Because there's a lot of guys in here that want to act. How hard was it for you, man, to channel, even like Above the Rim? You were doing something that you loved, which was basketball. But you were on a set with Tupac and Bernie Mac and Marlon. And how hard was it for you? Was the first day where you like, oh, I got it? Or how are you falling into these roles a bit, like when you're stepping it as an actor? Are you taking anything from sports into film?
What's crazy is you mentioned entry point. Like my entry point into the industry was weird. I just got cut from the Knicks. I'm working out at NYU. A friend of mine was on the Cosby Show, and he was still an actor. He was like, "Yo, I got this commercial audition. Come with me to this commercial audition, and we'll go to dinner." I was like, "All right, cool." We go to the audition. I go, "Yo, what do you guys do when you go in there?" He said, well, they'll tell you what to do. You know what I mean? They might say, drink a Coke and smile and look in the camera and go, like whatever. You know what I mean? Like they're going to tell you what to do. And I was like, oh, he was like, yo, you should go in there. I was like, how am I going? He goes, just sign my agent's name and go in there. I was like, all right, cool. I signed his agent's name. I go in. I do the audition. And the next day I get a call from his agent. Yo, who are you? I was like, oh, yo, I'm Brian's friend. He was like, yo, you signed my name on this commercial. You can't do that. But you booked this commercial, but I'm gonna do this one for you, but don't ever do it again. I was like, all right, cool. I go on the set. I didn't know nothing. I didn't know anything. It was North Carolina National Bank. Knew nothing. I just go and I just was like doing what they told me to do. I knew how to be coached, right? I was like, but stand here. Okay. And then cut two, he asked me to come on another audition with him. I go, I do it again. I sign his agent's name, right? We're laughing, right? I go in there. His agent calls me the next day. Yo, you did it again. I was like, oh, word, that's cool. Yo, you booked 3 national commercials today. Like that casting session was casting 3 national $4 Pizza Hut commercials. So you got all 3 of them. You're about to make some money. Come in my office, I'm gonna sign you. And that's how I got signed. It's like everybody, everybody's story is different. Everybody's entry point is different. And you gotta look for yours. You gotta see when that opportunity is there. Now, Dion is so eloquent. He's writing down these phrases, and everybody's like, ooh, ah. I want to tell y'all something. This is for women and men. Okay, women, there's some men that are hoes, right? So I just want y'all to know I'm not just talking to the fellas because I feel like we're in the locker room right now. I'm letting you guys know something that I learned in the second half of my life, right? Opportunity is a hoe. Just remember that. When opportunity comes to you, it's for you. If you don't take the opportunity is going to go next door. Right? When you get an opportunity, it's for you, right? When I played point guard. I passed. I had a lot of assists. I led my team in assists and points. I like a lot of things, opportunities I passed. And like Trevor says, some people don't exchange fairly. Like they don't forget. They have short-term memory. They don't know you gave them a layup, and when you open, they look you off. And now, right? So when the opportunity comes to you, that's your opportunity, yours. When you give it to somebody, it's unnatural. You have to be a part of that opportunity. Even if you make the introduction, you got to be a part of that opportunity. That's part of what Trevor was talking about. Your vibration, when people come to you, they're coming to you. And then you pass it, and it's like, okay, all right, that's cool. And you watch it happen, but it's like, no, you're supposed to be a part of that. So just know when it's for you. Just remember that, because it blew my mind when I figured it out. And as athletes, you're gonna get a lot of opportunities that come at you. So don't just think it's just it's just another person calling.
Say yes.
Investigate that.
Say yes. Speaking of entry point, for the last 7 years I've been a television writer. I had no designs on being a writer. I wrote my first screenplay 8 years ago. It was a romantic comedy that it was just an idea I had in my head, and I was at a second grade mixer for my son, who was in the second grade. One of my good friends, his name was Chris Collins. He was there. I didn't even want to go. I was just getting off the air. I was tired. My wife was like, Chris is here. He don't talk to nobody. So I got a hoodie and some basketball shorts. I show up to this second grade mixer, and we're standing out by a pool in the backyard at somebody's house with a magician walking around making shit disappear and reappear. It was just the weirdest environment. I'm just like, oh, all right, all these parents in there, half of them I don't know. And he was like, what's going on, man? I was excited because he's a writer. He's an actual writer, prolific writer and a showrunner. And I was like, man, I just wrote my first screenplay, and I was telling him about it. And I said, I got an idea for this other one. And so I spent 40 minutes talking about an idea that I had in my head, and he didn't say a word. He just sat there and listened. And he said, huh. I said, what you think? He said, I'm getting ready to start a show called The Continental, and it's based on the hotel in the John Wick movies about the assassins. And I said, cool, yeah, I love John Wick. And he said, I want you to be, are you in the guild? I said, the what guild? The Writers Guild? He was like, yeah. I said, Chris, I've written one thing no one in the world has read. No, I'm not in the guild. Don't worry about that. We'll take care of that. And he said, I want you to come in and I want you to be a part of this show. And I said, okay. He said, don't worry about it. I'm going to Stars. I'm going to talk to him. The next day he called me. They said no. I said, it's cool, man. It's cool. Nah, it's not good enough. I'm going to Lionsgate. All right, okay. 2 days later, he called me. Hey, they said no. Thank you for the opportunity. If can I just come sit in one day of the writer's room when it's up and going? He was like, I'm going over everybody's head. I'm going to Chris Albright. We were together at HBO. I'm going to talk to him. A week later, he called me. Chris said no. What I found out was he was going in telling them, hey, I want to bring Ephraim in as a co-EP on this project because I had been an EP in film. I had been producing and all of that. And they were like, yeah, no, who is this? And he's not even in the system. No. What I didn't know at the time was the difference between a film co-EP and a television co-EP. They're not even close to being the same. And so his wife, who was also in the business, said, well, why don't you just bring him in as a staff writer? And he said, well, I didn't want to insult him with the minimum and the pay. She was like, baby, he's not even a writer for real. He's not even for what? So he called me and said, hey, man, I want to bring you really in on this show. I'm going to bring you in as a staff writer. And I said, look, I'm excited, but I'm nervous because I'm not an assassin. And he said, what? I said, look, I don't, it's a show about assassins. He said, what? He said, so you think we went out and found a bunch of assassins or retired assassins to come write about being an assassin? He was like, man, I got a kid who just graduated from Harvard. He's never lived outside of his mom's house. Got another person over here. What I don't have is you. I don't have someone who's experienced life the way you have, who's been on a team at the highest of the highest level. I don't have that in my writer's room. I need that. I know what they're going to pitch me all the same stuff because they learn from the same people. You're going to tell me something I've never heard and they've never heard. That's your superpower. You're less than 0.1% of the world's population can be professional athletes. You've already cracked the code. You've experienced life and things like no other people on the planet. There's a story in that. There are ideas. And the way we look at the world is different than the way the postman looks at the world. Right? It's different than the way the kid who got his master's in writing from Harvard looks at the world. We've lived in the world. We've been a part of something bigger. And so being able to tell that story and being able to work on a team is the value that we bring. Think about this. This is the last thing I'll say. Every great play, every great moment in sports has a story behind it. Think about that. Every great play, every great story has a story. Every great play, every play, athlete, everybody has a story. Take advantage of that. Dion said it. Don't low-hanging fruit. The first 3 shows I've ever been a part of had nothing to do with sports. So now I'm not the football writer guy. I can do it. That's easy. High-level writing without football. Now, when I fall into something that has football as the backdrop, that's a home run. They know I can do it. I'm trying to get some clearance on some stuff from Tracy. They don't be liking to let the NFL be a part of these shows, but I'm going to crack that. I'm going to crack that for all of us. I'm doing that for us, okay? Doing that for us, Tracy.
So we have a really big day. So Duane, can you stay for a little bit or you have to leave? Can you stay for a minute? All right. So in a minute, these guys are going to become commodities to you. So take it in for a moment. He don't even know what the hell he doing. He's like, what the fuck going on? I got something for you, bro. We're going to take a break here, but I think the biggest thing just for one moment for you guys to take away from this is your entry point is going to be in various ways. And also, don't be afraid to create your own brand. The one big thing I will say in closing also is you don't need anyone to do what you're trying to do. Become that person. When I first came into Hollywood, I was so trying to get Jamie Foxx attached, this actor attached. Man, if I could just meet that one dude. And somebody was like, bro, you're the value. Do your shit and then they'll come to you. It took me a long time to realize that, because you're trying to hook your battery up to somebody else's battery. You're like, man, if I put my battery at that battery, boy, I'm gonna be out of here. No, you're not. It's the other way around. You have to become the thing, and then it will attract the things. And that's a big deal. So all this stuff you guys have taken in, man, on your break, take a minute, grab Duane, grab Trevor a little bit. These guys have been through it in a real way. They've seen it. They've experienced it. They're doing it in this space. They're connected to other people. So use them, all right? And I didn't know where the whole thing was going to go, Tracy, but I'm happy he wrapped that shit up. I'm like, damn, nigga, this the NFL. You here talking about hoes gonna be hoes. Hoes gotta eat too. I'm like, bro, what is going on? Golly, that was good though. That was actually really good.
I didn't know you was James Baldwin.
All right, so thank you guys so much, man.